The story of Lot and his wife is a very important story because it tells of God's wrath that he poured out on Sodom and Gomorrah for being such a sinful place, and how we too can also be like Sodom and Gomorrah. And that's not what we want, because we've seen what's happened to Sodom and Gomorrah in the Bible. Now, the story starts in Genesis 19. Now the two angels came to Sodom in the evening, and Lot was sitting in the gate of Sodom. When Lot saw them, he rose to meet them, and he bowed himself with his face towards the ground. And he said, "Hear now, my lords, please turn into your servant's house and spend the night and wash your feet. Then you may rise early and go on your way." And they said, "No, but we will spend the night in the open square." But he insisted strongly, so that they turned into him and entered his house. Then he made them a feast, and baked unleavened bread, and they ate. Now before they lay down, the men of the city, the men of Sodom, both old and young, all the people from every quarter, surrounded the house. And they called to Lot and said to him, "Where are the men who came to you tonight? Bring them out to us so that we may know them carnally." Now that means that they wanted to rape the men and have their pleasure with them. So Lot went out to them through the doorway, shut the door behind them, and said, "Please, my brethren, do not do so wickedly. See, now I have 2 daughters who have not known a man. Please let me bring them out to you, and you may do to them as you wish. Only do nothing to these men, since this is the reason that they have come under the shadow of my roof." And they said, "Stand back." Then they said, "This one came in and stay here, and he keeps acting as a judge. Now we will deal worse with you than with them." So they pressed hard against the man Lot, and came near to break down the door. But the men reached out their hand and pulled Lot inside the house with them, and shut the door. And they struck the men who were at the doorway of the house with blindness, both small and great, so they became weary trying to find the door. Then in verse 12 it says, "Then the men said to Lot, 'Have you anything else here, son-in-law, your sons, your daughters, and whomever you have in the city? Take them out of this place, for we will destroy this place, because the outcry against them has grown great before the face of the Lord, and the Lord has sent us to destroy it.' So Lot went out and spoke to his sons-in-law who were married to his daughters, and said, 'Get up, get out of this place, for the Lord will destroy this city.' But to the sons-in-laws he seemed to be joking. When the morning dawned, the angel urged Lot to hurry, saying, 'Arise, take your wife and your 2 daughters who are here, lest you be consumed in the punishment of the city.' And while he lingered, the men took hold of his wife's hands, and the hands of his 2 daughters, the Lord being merciful to them, and they brought him out and set him outside the city." I'm going to skip over to verse 23. It says, "Then the sun has risen upon the earth where Lot entered Zoar. The Lord rained brimstone and fire on Sodom and Gomorrah from the Lord out of the heavens. So he overthrew those cities, all the plain and all the inhabitants of the city, and what grew on the ground. But his wife looked back behind him, and she became a pillar of salt." Now this here is a lesson. They were told not to look back, and not to look back, and she did. What basically she was doing, she was trying to reclaim her past. She was looking back on what she had lost, and not looking ahead to what Jesus promised them: redemption and salvation and freedom. She wanted what she had in Sodom, and she longed for it, and she looked back on it. This is the lesson of today. We need not to look back on what we had. Do not be making our past an idol, longing for the days of the good times. What we need to do always is live in the presence with God and always know that our future is secure in Him. And He is need to be our focus, and our thoughts should always be on Him. Thank you, folks. I hope you enjoyed this reading. God bless.